He wowed at the Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference with it, but we're still not quite sure what it is. Welcome to SkyWatch TV for Thursday, July 28th, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. And by the way, I know I said yesterday was Thursday. I was wrong. Today is Thursday. Anyway, our guests joining us, the producers, the host and director of the Watchers DVD series, most recently Watchers 10 DNA, in which they unveiled something startling, which they disclosed for the first time at the Rocky Mountain Prophecy Conference. We welcome Richard Shaw and L.A. Marzulli to the program. Gentlemen, welcome.
Great to be here.
Hey, Derek. Good to see you again.
Richard, you released the video, or well, the two of you released a video to YouTube last week of the so-called fairy. This is an excerpt from the Watchers 10 DVD. I'm going to show this on the screen while we're talking about it, just a clip there of the brief examination of what this thing is. What is this thing? Do you have any idea?
Well, when Jaime showed it to us, now we saw it for the first time 3 years ago in his office, and LA has kind of told that story before, but basically he brings this bottle, about a quart-sized bottle of formaldehyde, and sets it on his desk and then leaves it with us to look at. And inside of it was this creature with wings, hands, arms, a tail with a stinger on it, and legs and feet. I mean, and when I looked at it, you know, L.A. and I looked at each other and I said, could this be a fairy? Now, the only reason we call it a fairy is because this goes way back to our research in Watchers 1, where L.A. brought a woman on that had had an encounter with these creatures at a place in Central California. So that's what she called it, and that's what her friends all called it. So that it kind of got tagged as a fairy. We don't know if this is the same thing she saw, but she sure describes it in that way, where it seems to have like a face and wings and a tail like a scorpion. And this is something that to us it seems very similar to what's described in Revelation chapter 9, what happens in the end of days. I mean, almost to a T. And as far as having a crown of gold and all that, I didn't see that. But also, we're looking at a dead creature that's been soaking in formaldehyde for a decade. So we don't know what it looked like when it was alive. And of course, some of the descriptions that the Bible characters would give things, it was, well, it's like this. It looked like, wasn't a physical crown or anything like that. But so we don't know if it had hair on its head, but it does have little fuzzy stuff on its body, which I thought was kind of interesting. And most recently, I realized we had never really talked about the tail section in it. And I found a new piece of video the other day and did a screenshot of it and sent it to LA. And I said, I think this is a stinger, which would then pretty much fulfill the whole Revelation description.
Now, LA, how close did you get to this thing during the examination?
Well, I mean, Rick was kind of talking about it. You got to understand that, I had never met Jaime. Richard met him briefly at a UFO thing with Dr. Roger Lear. And so we're in his office, and, it's like a 4-story nondescript building in Mexico City. And we're down in the lobby, and all of a sudden Jaime appears on the railing with a couple of A's, and Marzulli, Shaw, and up we go to his office, and he's got to shoot a program on the top story. So he goes, I'll be back in like an hour or 45 minutes. Make yourself at home. So we're in this guy's office, and he reaches behind him, and he opens up a cabinet door, and he takes out this jar, and he sets the jar down on his desk, and he goes, okay, I'll see you later. And he just walks out, bounds out of the room. And we're sitting there just going like, you have got to be kidding. I mean, no lie. And he sets the wing nightmare, which is my name for it, on the desk. And we're just, we can't believe it, okay? We can't believe what we're looking at. Later on in the day, Ricardo came, and they took the creature out and got it x-rayed. And at that point, we were like,
we actually got to see the creature lifted out of this bottle of stuff. He took some tongs and lifted it out. So I'm there with my camera, trying to get any shot of it that I can while he's doing it.
We were 6 inches away from the thing. And Derek, when I first saw it, the first thing that popped into my head, and I've heard other people say exactly the same thing when they see it, Revelation 9.
Yeah.
That's where everybody goes. And I just want to show you guys real briefly the x-ray here.
And well, I can send him those pictures.
Yeah, we will. I just, it's just always show and tell time. But it's gone viral. We've had over 233,000 hits in like 5 days since we put the YouTube up. It was just on Spirit Daily this morning, which was really cool. Charisma News did it. And what's great about this? Look, it's people go, oh, you're just money, money, money. We're in it for the money and all this nonsense. I mean, hello, this is hardcore scientific research. When we saw it, we weren't sure whether it was real. In fact, when I got the X-rays, I started really leaning towards hoax. Mm-hmm. When we were down there looking at it, I felt like it was real because we were looking at this thing and it didn't look like someone stapled it together or glued it together. It really looked like
there are people doing that too.
Yeah.
And we know about that.
But when they got the X-rays and we saw these hot little dots in this thing, and you can see them right there, I just started going, well, maybe that's how they put the thing together. Mm-hmm. Didn't make any sense because, as Rick pointed out, they're so asymmetrical. It's just it didn't make any sense. And until I went and spoke to a veterinarian, who, of course, like many people in Watchers 10, will not come on the record, doesn't want his face showed or where he works or anything else. Can't do that, LA. They'll come and arrest me. So, but we did get the audio.
Prosper.
Yeah, live long and prosper. We did get the audio, and that is in Watchers 10. And, without spilling the beans, when he told me what it was, that's when I just went, oh my gosh. And it blew both of us away. It solved the puzzle. Yeah. It solved the mystery for us.
It's like turning a light bulb on. It's like, well, if the thing was shot by a gun, then that means that if you created a hoax and then you laid it on the ground and shot it to make it look, I mean, that's crazy. I don't think anyone would spend that much time putting something that delicate together and then shoot it with a gun. So someone shot it down, and that's how this 13-year-old kid found it.
And here's something else to consider. When I was in Colorado, I had two hunters come up, independently of each other. Mm-hmm. So one guy comes up and looks at the X-rays and tells me something. Another hunter, the same day, maybe an hour or two later, comes up, and basically we have the same conversation. Both of these guys looked at the X-rays. They go, "How big was it?" I said, "About 9 inches." So the X-ray is a little bigger than what the creature actually was. But I said about 9 inches. Rick's cracking, that's bad production value. LA, stop it. So always the director. Sorry, but
I didn't say anything.
They both said to me that this was number 7 bird shot, and that this creature was shot between 50 and 75 feet away. Both of them said the same thing.
Really? They were able to identify it that clearly.
Instantly. Oh, that's number 7 bird shot.
Huh.
There was a comment on the website this morning on the YouTube site where some guy said, "Oh, those are the screws holding it together," and I said, "Not true." I said, first of all, we're looking at 2 angles, and these are X-rays. So if it were a screw in like either the profile view or the up front, you'd see the threads and the head of the screw and all that. There is no such thing. They're spherical from any angle.
So the composition of what appears to be the biological material, what kind of testing has been done on that so far?
Well, the first test, I guess Jaime and Ricardo had done a DNA test in which they couldn't get any DNA from it, but yet at dinner one night, now this was like, a year and a half ago, Jaime was in Los Angeles, and I went to dinner with him. LA wasn't in town at the time. And we started talking about the ferry, and this is when I asked him, I said, "Look, we'd like to release this because we think this is really stunning information." And he was real hesitant because he still didn't know what it was. And he's a very cautious guy. A lot of people say Jaime's a hoaxer, he's not.
Sensationalist, and
No, he's not. He's very much like we are. We're trying to find out the truth about these things, and we're not always right. We don't always know because this is stuff no one's ever seen before. So he said that they had done some kind of a DNA test, and part of the DNA came back as DNA from a bird, which was really interesting. Now they couldn't get nuclear DNA from it, and I don't know. Maybe it hadn't soaked long enough in formaldehyde at that point to make the test invalid, because that's the problem we had with it. Mm-hmm. In fact, they had told us LA's connections to one of the labs that tested it said that normally if something's been in formaldehyde, it cooks the DNA, they said.
Yeah.
So, but yet he's got another lab that says they might be able to, now that they know that, they can compensate for it. So
Maybe.
that's what we're hoping to do. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
So at this point, it's just still guess as to what this thing is.
Yeah, I mean it's a real creature. I mean, I at this point, and there was a second one that LA mentioned has mentioned before that Jaime brought out, and it was like in a little cardboard box with like sitting on like cotton, and it was very similar to this, but we all looked at it up close, and it was owned by someone else, so I couldn't really photograph it. We didn't have the rights to use it in anything, just to even show a comparison.
But it looked different.
It looked different.
Yeah.
I thought there were elements to it, didn't you, LA, that looked fake?
Yeah.
Like its feet looked like
We
plastic
leaned
to me.
immediately towards hoax when we saw that one immediately. This other one is a whole different deal. I mean,
It's
the facial
too
expression, Derek, is off the charts, really strange. You know,
Yeah, and then when you see the X-ray and you examine, well, one thing when we finally got to see the X-ray again after 3 years, this was just recently.
yeah.
As I was finishing Watchers 10, the X-rays came in, and I looked at the profile view of the cranial area, the skull, and you'll notice, like in the back of the skull, there was like all of this tissue. I mean, when you look at that, you go, you can't fake that. That's like real. That's a real skull.
And you know, when I went to the veterinarian, I kept bringing him back. You know, and you know this as an interviewer. You know, I mean, you bring people back, and you just, well, maybe he'll tell me the story a little different. Maybe he's not sure. Maybe he's leaving out something. And I kept bringing him back to the thing. Look, are you sure it's not a composite? And he just would look at me and goes, you know, if it's a hoax, if somebody made this thing from another creature or a group of creatures or whatever, it's really, really good. And it begs the question, you know, if someone's doing this, then, you know, they're doing it to put it on the cover of, you know, Esquire or something, right? And that's not the case. This thing is just, nobody made any money from it. I mean, the kid made, according to Jaime, I mean, he gave him something to you know, buy the creature. But it's not like this is the first time it's really gone, you know, out. And okay, so we're selling some DVDs. That's great, but we're not. I mean, people are just hysterical. Some of the nasty little comments you get on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
We go to the veterinarian. We spend the money, and I won't tell you how much it is, but it's in the thousands to do DNA testing on this thing, and we didn't get anything. You know, so we're right now the X-rays. They're at a forensic anthropologist office. They're also at one of the leading radiologist office, and we're waiting to get feedback from them. So it's like, you know, we're on the trail. We're trying to look. Let me go back to something here. In the Book of Enoch, it tells us that, and I get it. It's not part of the canon, you know, so we don't have to go down that rabbit trail. But the bottom line is this: the Book of Enoch does tell us that the angels who fell from their first estate, Jude, right? When they came down, they sinned not only against the human beings, but against the animals.
Right.
And Tom Horn's gotten into this whole deal about the chimeras, you know, Horn and Putman and et al. And yourself, the whole idea of chimeras. I think that's what we're looking at. I think the fallen cherub, i.e. Satan, somehow has access to the gene pool. Somehow we have access to it, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's like Tom Horn and Chris's
Yeah.
DVD Inhuman. I mean, it gets into some of that stuff, not specifically what we have here, I don't think, but there is DNA manipulation going on. This was a hallmark of the Nephilim. And I guess also there's this misconception when we refer to the Nephilim, it's not just about giants. That's kind of like LA. Yeah, exactly. I mean, these
signatures.
These were beings that were messing around with humanities.
Right. And I would add to that, they were trying to create man in his own image. That's what he's trying to do. So, and here's something else interesting to think about. You know, it talks about the creature, you know, breastplates like this and the helmet. Well, that thing, maybe that's when it's dressed for battle in Revelation 9. This thing wasn't dressed for battle. Maybe it was a spy. You know, I mean, the conjecture is endless. I have no idea what
very
this
weird
thing is, but it's real in our opinion.
I mentioned on the radio the other night when we were being interviewed that imagine seeing one of these beings flying towards you with a human-looking face scowling at you as it's ready to sting you. I mean, that would be pretty creepy.
There was a man who emailed me after he saw this week. He emailed me, and he thanked me for, the film, thanked us for the film and getting this out and putting the picture up, because now he realizes he's not crazy. And basically what happened was one night, and he's a Christian, he had been praying to the Lord, and he finished this prayer time, and he went into the bathroom and flicked on the light, and there's this thing clinging to the screen, looking right at him.
Mm-hmm.
He said it completely freaked him out. He thought he was losing his mind.
Yeah.
So, now we've got...
Did he say it had like a human-looking face? Did he mention that?
He said it looked exactly like the thing that we showed.
Wow.
Wow, that would really freak you out.
Yeah, no
You saw a
kidding.
little miniature creature looking at you through the window.
Yeah. Well, it's fascinating stuff. We appreciate the work and the risk that you guys are taking, both personally and professionally, because we know that you're catching a lot of flack and criticism from others in ministry as well as from the secular world. So
this is true.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys putting yourself out there, and please keep us posted.
Punching bags, that's what we are.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Derek.
You, Derek.
What was the old saying from the Shakespeare play? There is more in heaven and earth that is dreamt of in our philosophy. That is true. We Christians say we believe in a supernatural God who spoke the universe into existence, and yet tend to de-supernaturalize even the supernatural conflict that is clearly in the Bible. And then when you get into weird stuff like this, it's, that's just right out. We don't know what this thing is. It does appear from my look at the x-rays that I saw out there at the Rocky Mountain Prophecy Conference that if this is a hoax, this is a professional grade hoax. We're talking Hollywood grade hoax, except that it was brought to the Mexican broadcaster Jaime Maussan by a young teen boy who says he found it by the side of the road. So what is the truth here? Think what you will of L.A. Marzulli and Richard Shaw. They are working to try to get the truth. And again, catching an awful lot of flack, including some friendly fire. It is definitely strange times, and has been for quite some time. In fact, Steve Quayle talks about that on SkyWatch TV this week. It's part 2 of our discussion of his new book, Empire Beneath the Ice, in which he explains why the Nazis didn't actually lose World War II. And he talks about their secret base at Antarctica and what they might have been doing there. The program, if you haven't seen it yet this week, will be broadcast, that is, Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Central Time on the Victory Television Network. Those are our friends down there in Arkansas and around Memphis. And then Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. at WCLF Television in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area. The program is available now at the SkyWatch TV channel on Roku and also the SkyWatch TV channel on Vimeo. Our web-exclusive content is available for you each and every week. Today and every Thursday, you see the new episodes of Into the Multiverse with Josh Peck and his wife, Christina Peck. They take a look at the creation down at the nanoparticulate level. We're talking quarks, bosons, and other interesting particles, but they do it from a biblical perspective. And then every Friday, Sci Friday, with my best friend and our science editor, Sharon K. Gilbert. That plus these daily news updates, Skywatch Women, and more available at skywatchtv.com and the Skywatch TV channel on Roku. Do subscribe if you've got a Roku account and you haven't yet. Make sure you add us to your favorites so that we're right there on your Roku selections when you bring up that set-top box. We also have a portable version, an audio version of everything that we do, audio versions of everything we do at Skywatch TV, at the Skywatch TV podcast. You'll find that available at the Skywatch TV website. Also information on how you can automatically add it to your favorite podcatcher like iTunes. Look at skywatchtv.com and then click the link in the top menu bar that says podcast. Your support keeps us going and brings this cutting-edge information to you. And during the month of July, as a thank you for your support, we're offering these books related to the spiritual war we are fighting, Empowered by His Presence, and 50 Things You Should Know About Satan and Demons. We'll send those to you if you're a U.S. resident for your gift of any amount during the month of July, while supplies last, For information and to donate, log on to skywatchtv.com/donate. And of course, your mouse finger is a great help to us too. Just click like, click share, click subscribe wherever you find us on the interwebs. And if you have questions, comments, or suggestions for us, please send those to dgilbert@skywatchtv.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. Tomorrow, Sci Friday. Until then, I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV. America isn't the same country that we grew up in, but it's hard to get back what we've forgotten we had. That's why Defender Publishing presents When Once We Were a Nation. 12 chapters, 12 authors, each one remembering when once we were a nation of strength, of rugged individualism, of dreams and opportunity, when once we were a nation of faith. From authors like Tom Horn, Chris Putnam, Lieutenant Colonel Bob McGinnis, Sheila Zielinski, and more. And when you order a copy of the new book, When Once We Were a Nation from SkyWatch TV, we'll add these books free. Dancing with the Devil, an honest look at the occult. Culture Clash, Islam's War with America. Conspiracies and the Cross, how to refute the most popular attacks on the gospel. And God Bless America by Todd Starnes of Fox News. When Once We Were a Nation from Defender Publishing, because the first step to getting it back is remembering what we had.